Welcome back to We Still Like Each Other, the podcast. I'm Travis.
And I'm Stephanie.
And this is the podcast where we show that the honeymoon stage can last forever.
Forever and ever.
We back.
Welcome back. I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry.
I'm trying to keep the energy going, and Stephanie is just like...
I don't know, when it seemed a little forced. I'll be honest.
We're back.
We're back.
Fuck you.
Well, welcome back, baby.
Welcome.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I was feeling great right up until that moment. But it was a great week. Are you going to ask me about my week?
Yeah, how was your week, baby?
Week was great. It was a week of reflecting and seeing what our future holds. I know I sound cryptic as fuck, but I don't like talking about things until they're like actually solidified. So yeah, just a lot of reflecting and feeling like the possibilities are endless for us as a family.
Yeah.
And then also we went to the beach yesterday. That was fun.
And also calms my mind. Like, I don't know, something about the sun, the sand, the water, the sound of the waves. It just puts me in a good mood.
I'll be honest. When you first asked,
you didn't want to go.
I was like, I'm going to do this for her. And it's not, I like the beach. I actually like it more now than I used to. It's just the whole packing, kids, and sand afterwards. But once we were there, I had a great time. And, happy wife, happy life. So I was happy that you were happy.
Yeah. Honestly, the packing and stuff isn't that bad. It's when you get home and you're so tired and the sun drains you and you got to bathe 2 kids. Eli's hair has to be washed. The showers, the washing all the towels and the things that we use. That part is kind of annoying. But the summer here in New York, New Jersey area only lasts 2 months.
Well, global warming might be like, I'm going to stick around for a little bit, player.
Yeah, so I like to take advantage, go to the beach as often as I can because next thing, I went into Walmart to get bread for the beach and they already had coats out.
Pumpkin spice coffee.
And I needed another sunscreen and it was harder to find. Whereas before they had it in the middle, this huge thing. It was I had to go search for the sunscreen. So they are already pushing fall onto us.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited.
How was your week besides the beach?
My week, honestly, oh my God, it was amazing. I forgot. I have friends over this week. Christina, Irene.
Yeah.
Travis is like, huh? They literally spent the night. So my friend Christina and Irene.
Ariana.
And Ariana has spent a couple of nights here during the week, which was amazing. And I was reading this book. And one of the methods to reduce stress is to spend time with family, friends, and loved ones. So I was like, oh, I needed them this week. They really held me down. It was nice to be, in their presence. Irene was actually on one of our very early episodes about identity. And she actually has this amazing opportunity coming up to be a presenter at South by Southwest. That's a festival.
Yes.
In Texas, I believe. She does need our support. Right now, you can vote for her presentation to be selected as one of the panelists at this event. So we're going to attach the link in the description of this video.
Word.
Yeah, support. We need to see more Black women, in the space that she is in. She works in media, and if she could represent for us, that would be awesome. So please vote. I'm going to put the link in this description.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun when they came over. I remember, so normally when I get home, I'll take about an hour of my time at home and do some podcast stuff, make a reel, whatever the case is. But we were sitting at the table talking and they were spilling the tea. And I don't know who likes tea more, men or women, because I was like,
yeah, Travis is all
jaw dropped.
He's the husband that's there for the tea.
Yeah. And I'll be like, you don't got no bonchinche for me?
So our tea is just stuff we haven't been able to share since we hadn't seen each other in person in a couple of months. So since moving out here, I hadn't seen Christina or Irene in person. So all of us had crazy life things that we needed to share with each other. So that's our tea. It's not really gossiping about other people. It's
Personal
holy
stuff.
shit. Yeah, personal stuff. But, you know, we all had our drama to share, personal drama, but it was fun.
Yeah.
And Travis needed to be filled in. And it was perfect because if Travis wasn't there to be filled in, I would have had to repeat it later because, you know, if you tell me something, I'm telling Travis.
I suck at retelling stories, and Stephanie's the best.
Yo,
so
Travis literally sucks.
I could hear the craziest story.
I have to pull out.
So what was he wearing? Where were they? What was the weather? And she'll give you all that in her.
Yeah, or he'll tell me a story and I'm like, okay. Like he leaves the whole point out. I'm like, why did you even bring this up? Or like weeks later, something will come up and he'll say, didn't I tell you? I'm like, no, you did not tell me. What the hell?
Yeah, I suck at it.
Terrible. On the topic of reflection, before we move on from our weekly recap, I wanted to talk about reflecting on this move a little bit. We've been in New Jersey for 3.5 months, and this is like a suburb, right? I wanted to talk about living in the city. What's something about living in the city that we miss, that we love, that's nostalgic? Or if you want, you could put it in the context of our kids are never going to have this experience that I had living in the city.
I think the convenience, like you can literally walk out your house and go to a bodega and find the most random things. Like, I don't know, if you need a certain screwdriver, you could go to the bodega and they might have it. Mm-hmm. And whereas here, you have to go to a Home Depot and get in your car. It's not the convenience. I definitely miss the convenience.
Yeah, definitely. Because even if something's like a 15, 20-minute walk in the city, it's walkable. Mm-hmm. There's sidewalks, crosswalks, lights. Here, if you say something is a 15, 20-minute walk, you're like, do I have to cross a highway? Is there light?
Grass.
Is there even a pathway for me to walk? Like, it's not the same, you know? And even like the gas station, it's not really walkable. You know, like we don't have a convenience store, a bodega. I love walking distance from here. There is like a little like farmer's market / nursery. They sell plants and stuff. And inside they have fresh fruits and vegetables that I discovered. And I love that. Like I got green tomatoes. I made fried green tomatoes the other day. And it's like, this is a perk of here. But I will say in New York City, we have like the fruit stands.
Remember the guy that was literally right downstairs?
Right downstairs.
And he would have everything.
Yeah, not green tomatoes.
No,
got the little bougie fruit.
If you asked him, he would have brought it.
I ate a canary melon the other day for the first time. And I was looking it up. And coincidentally, in certain places of the world, they call it Huang canary melon.
And your dad's name is Juan.
My dad's name is Huang. So I was like, oh, shit. And I share a love of fruit with my dad. Like he kind of put me on to fruits. Like I love fruits because of him. So that was really interesting. So yeah, anything else you'll miss?
Sometimes I miss the noise.
Okay.
It's weird because around so many people, I never felt safer than I do. Like
so you feel safer in the city around a lot of people?
I do. Okay. It's something about, and it's not even a sense of community. I don't feel like everyone's looking out for each other. I don't think that, but there's something about being around a lot of people that, I don't know.
There'll be a lot of bystanders if
something
anything
like
happens.
That, yeah. Like here, before I go to bed, I'm like, all right, I got to check this door, that door, literally like 6 doors and make sure everything's secure. Mm-hmm. And then you still just never know.
Yo, maybe a couple hours ago, we got a Ring notification of basically there was a man walking around barefoot asking for help. And then he was trying to get into a house and he was like asking for help. And the Ring camera caught it. Like I would freak the fuck out if it's the middle of the night and there's some barefoot man trying to get in my house. In the city, it's like we lived in a building. So you had to get in the building, get up the stairs, and then there's hundreds of apartments. You know what I mean? It's like more disconnected from outside.
Yeah.
So I definitely agree.
You scared the shit out of me this morning. Stephanie got a fraud alert on her credit card and ran. It was for a crazy amount, but she ran upstairs and woke me up. I think it was like 5 in the morning.
Yeah, it was like 5:30. Because
she couldn't sleep, so she was out working out. And I thought the way she woke me up, I thought she was about to say something crazy. Like, that's crazy, but I was like, I have to fight. I have to defend my family. Or there's some big ass rodent, something.
Yeah. I panicked. I was like, oh my God, what do I do? So I was like, Travis, I gotta, because we've been getting so many spam texts and phone calls, like the call where it sounds like someone speaking Mandarin on the other line, or texts with weird links, you know, trying to get people. But this one was, I can tell I had other texts previously from my credit card. Like if I bought something, I'll get a notice. So it was like $9,439 and it was approved. And I was like, oh my God, what the hell is this? So I was like, I have to tell Travis right now because I didn't want to like wait.
I was like, don't worry. I bought myself something.
I was like, thanks for telling me. But yeah, that was nuts.
Well, what about you? Because I mean, you know, you could say our experiences with the city are a lot different. I grew up in a more residential area. You were like in the city with buildings and stuff like that. So what are you going to miss, or what are you going to miss for your children?
Something that I think about that's going to be different for our kids is that when I went from elementary to middle school, all new friends. When I went from middle school to high school, all new friends, because there's so many schools to choose from. In smaller towns, you kind of stay with the same kids for 12 whole years. And there's pros and cons to that, right? Because you could say, I can build lasting friendships, right? But then it's also like there's no space to start new, to start fresh. You know, like if you mess up in first grade, you're always going to be remembered by that thing you did in first grade. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like those nicknames you got in elementary school are going to stick with you forever.
That's interesting because I had from elementary, junior high school, and a good chunk of my junior high school classmates went to my high school. So we stayed pretty consistent.
But you have really big schools in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
See, I went to small schools. My elementary school was pretty big. But then when I went to middle school is when the charter schools started popping up. So I went to a really small middle school. What basically happened was it was a big middle school that was doing terribly. So they like broke it up into schools. It wasn't charter. That's what it was. So I went to a small school. It was one floor on the 5th floor. And then in high school, it was a charter school that just opened. I was the second graduating class. And I think there was one person from my middle school that went to my high school. And then coincidentally, someone I went to elementary school went to my high school, but just because of coincidence. Yeah.
Yeah, high school was a culture shock because that's when I was like around a lot more white people and different types of white people. That was from going from a predominantly
different types, like what? Like from like different Russian, European places? Yeah, okay. I'm like different types of
There's only one white person, according to Stephanie.
No, I wasn't sure what you meant, like different in terms of socioeconomic status or like heritage. I don't know. Too. See, I never had any white friends. I never went to school with any white people. It was just Black Latinos. And then we had our couple like Bengali kids or African kids or Yemen maybe started to pop up. In high school, there were like a couple of Asian girls there. That was the first like Asian girls that I ever went to school with. They were sisters. The 3 of them. 2 of them were in the same grade and then one was younger.
It's funny how that works. Like the nationalities, they click up.
Yeah, but they were literally sisters.
Well, in my school, I'm just saying like there was the Russians, the Black people, the Hispanic.
And they all kind of stood together.
And then, they would have a few floaters.
That's funny because one of my friends asked me about like if I could go back in time, would I consider a HBCU instead of like the college I went to? So short answer, no, because I went to a state college, which is way cheaper than an HBCU. Also, I was like even though I went to a school that was predominantly white, we stuck together. Like the Black and Latino kids, we stuck together. So I still had that experience of being around my culture. But then I also sometimes had some regret about staying too comfortable. Like I wasn't branching out. Like I only hung out with my people, which was a good thing. I felt support. We could relate. But then it's like, is that the real world or not?
That's one thing I pride myself on in high school. I would go to any group. Like I didn't have a lunch table. It was many lunch tables. So
because you was a player.
Probably that. It wasn't for anything positive.
I think there's a book called like, Why Do All the Black Kids Sit Together? There's like, people have discussed this phenomenon of like self-segregation in schools. I will have to read it. I can't remember what the consensus was.
But it happens everywhere.
Yeah.
Jail.
Oh, yeah.
The workplace.
Absolutely.
It's a joke, but I've experienced it, so I know it happens a lot. But it's like after the work meeting, then you have the black meeting. Anyway, nigga.
Yeah. And now they're actually encouraging, not segregation, but giving people from like historically, what was the word we found? We were like, what's hugs? Historically underrepresented groups.
Yes. What was it on again?
We were looking up something.
That's crazy. Hugs.
So they give people from historically underrepresented groups like clubs and budgets to like do things together as a collective, especially post George Floyd, March 2020 time, and like being more culturally diverse and paying attention to the Black experience in corporate America. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is kind of bringing it back to Irene. Yeah, I got to vote for her. So yeah, I think we're done, right?
Yeah.
We're done reflecting.
Reflection complete.
Do you think this is our forever home? Not this home, but like the town, the community?
I don't think we'll ever go back to the city.
Okay.
But I think we're going to be suburban for the near future.
Would it be this suburb?
I think Jersey, but not this suburb.
What are you sold on about Jersey?
More bang for your buck. You
Okay.
know, if we do decide to purchase a home, I think our money will go a lot further than it would in the inner city.
Yeah.
I do.
But we could go to a different suburb, not New Jersey.
What, like Connecticut or something?
Oh, anywhere. We were just talking about how the opportunities are endless for us.
Because, you know, also with this podcast, I think that we also have to be considerably close to the city for certain things. You know, we've had, look at the opportunity we have with Guys Next Door. If we were living in West Bubble, that would have been a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
So being closer to the city is something I think about, and it's a nice balance. You know, we can get there pretty quick, but we're far enough where we can have a different type of lifestyle.
That makes sense. All right. So, did you know?
Did you know? I am ready for
I wet my shirt.
Okay. Did you know? Did you know around 3 million first dates happen every day across the world?
First dates?
First dates.
Okay.
How many first dates have you been on?
I don't know. I feel like I didn't really go on many dates.
Damn, baby.
I didn't. You took like, what, 3 weeks to take me on a date? Now you quiet?
I'm trying to think why.
Because we were like fucking around at first.
I was going to say we got straight to the business right away.
Yeah.
Is that what you were doing?
No. I'm just, people didn't want to date me. I don't know why. I didn't get asked out on many dates.
I went on a lot of first dates.
You have any like weird first date stories? I feel like you told one when you got arrested, and I had told one that I told the one about the cop.
Yeah. I used to take a lot of girls to the same restaurant. I took you there once.
Once or where my first date was?
No.
Not the first date one? Okay.
I feel like you're always trying to get me on that. I've never taken anyone there.
Because it was really good. So I was like, have you been here before?
Like this. I was like, boom, let's go here.
Okay. You got lucky.
And you've asked me this a lot.
I forget.
You really don't believe me. But the hibachi place.
Oh, okay.
That was my spot. To the point where managers used to shake my hand like,
oh, you got another girl?
No, not just because I was there so often. I don't think they really noticed who my date was, but
okay.
They noticed me.
All right.
So
I like that place though. It's like a family-friendly place. The food is good. We've gone a bunch of times.
If you're in Brooklyn, Momoyama.
I don't think we've ever gone just as a date, like me and you.
We have gone once. I remember I was hyping it up and he was like, it's okay. It's a cool hibachi place.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was getting on our friend Tabitha because she loves hibachi, and I was like, no, you got to go to Momoyama because they don't play you like the other places and just try and fill you up with noodles. And she's like, but I love the noodles. I was like, exactly.
They got her.
They got her. But yeah, a lot of first dates. Any weird ones? I can't think. I told the story about when I took a girl on a date and she invited her friend.
Yeah.
Took them to Momoyama. No, I can't think of anything.
I remember going on a date that he was like really, really cheap. But I'm like, we didn't vibe. Like,
didn't you get fast food?
Yeah, we got fast food and I bought my own fast food. But like we didn't vibe. So I feel like maybe he was like, whatever. We went to the movies to see Avatar. And he had like ticket, like a coupon, some type of thing to get the tickets. So he didn't even buy the tickets. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Oh, he got them through work or something like that. But then afterwards, we just went and ate McDonald's. And I literally bought my own McDonald's.
Have you been on well, I guess this doesn't go to you since you haven't been on many first dates. So I was going to say, like you meet someone in person for the first time and you just immediately know it's not there. Like
that one.
That one?
Yeah. We have met, I think, in real life a couple times, but never like one-on-one. And but I will say, this reminds me of something we spoke about last week. I thought he was fine. Like physically, like my type. Like everything about him, I thought he was sexy as hell. But it showed that doesn't matter if you don't vibe. Because literally we could tell, like it just wasn't there. There was no chemistry like on that date. Even though I hyped it up in my head because how he looks physically. So the reason it reminds me of last week is we were talking about how someone who you vibe with, you have good chemistry with, you find funny, you could become attractive. But the opposite is also true.
Yeah.
Someone who you think is gorgeous or super attractive, that could fade away if personality, don't vibe. And I feel like with this particular person, it wasn't like anything specific that was like, there was just no chemistry.
Yeah. I feel like that's happened to me, but more so I've been catfished. Like they looked so good before we met. And then when I saw them in person, it was like, And this is like a time before filters. So that's even more impressive.
Angles.
Photoshop.
People was photoshopping.
Yeah.
I've also like met a person and then thought they were hot, cool, and then hung out. I was like, oh, I'll never see this person again. Like, no, we're good. Travis is like,
nah.
No.
Never happened.
All right. So let's move on to topic number 1. And this topic is actually a submission from our Patreon, the I Really Like You tier, or We Really Like You tier. And it's Pink Hair Danielle. She wrote that in the submission. Pink Hair Danny. And she wanted to know about any setbacks we have or an aha moment that we realize we want to better our relationship. When did it happen?
Before you continue.
Yes.
Us talking about living in the city. Shout out to Pete Fields.
Oh yes, Pete, that was yours. My bad. We'll put in the YouTube. Ding. That was Pete Fields' submission. Yeah. That's why we spoke about that.
Yeah. So thank you for signing up to Patreon. Sorry. Continue.
So she wanted to know if there was a setback or aha moment that we realized like we need to better our relationship.
We need to better our relationship.
I took it as like we're not giving up on each other. Like when did we realize like we're just gonna make this work? We're not gonna we could break up or.
So unfortunately, I feel like it's happened a few times. The very first time that I recall it happening is, we've discussed this very early on about you basically setting me up with my ex-girlfriend.
So if you haven't watched episode 1 or know about that drama, go back.
Yeah. The audio's a little cringe, but
yeah, it was episode 1.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a moment where I was like, oh shit, I'm about to lose this girl because I can't get my shit together. Like, I'm playing games. Mm-hmm. And it probably was a reminder or an eye opener that like you meant a lot more to me than even I knew at that time. Mm. Like, even after everything happened, you've all heard the story, but basically I couldn't sleep. Like, I was just like, I fucked up. Mm. And it wasn't me just trying to look good in your eyes. It was just, I really wanted you back. Mm. So I think that was like the first time where I was like, oh shit. Like,
and then that's where I get tight, right? Not tight, because we're here and I appreciate you and I love you. But I just hate that had to happen. Like, I wish you knew that without that moment happening. Like, it's like I had to feel what it would be like to lose you, and then I figured it out. And it's like, why? Like, why did you need that? And I know there's no answer.
Yeah.
And I know we've discussed this numerous times in the healing process over the years.
Yeah, we've discussed this without a podcast. And I wish I've had a better answer for you.
Yeah. But I know that a lot of people feel that. And it's also like, how do I know it's genuine? Like, do you only feel like this because you got caught? Because now it's out in the air?
And to that, I say no. Like, and one of my things that I pride myself on when it comes to this relationship is that I don't need you. Mm. I don't need you for a roof over my head. I don't need you.
I don't know. You need me.
But there are people who find themselves in situations like they're fighting for a place to sleep. And that wasn't.
So you don't need me in the literal sense of like housing, money, food.
Exactly. But, and I still was fighting for you.
Yeah.
And I think that goes a long way. Mm. Like, what do you, when a man or woman finds himself in that situation, what are you fighting for? Mm. I was fighting for you, nothing else.
Yeah. Our connection.
You, Stephanie, single mom from the Bronx, Gemini, Dominican, all these things that people would look at as a negative.
Oh,
I was fighting for. So I'm not saying that somehow makes me better, or it's like, oh, that's the definitive answer for he was being honest. Mm-hmm. But for me, it was like I wanted you.
Yeah. And I feel like you had gotten away with it for so long in the past. And I always say, as head over heels as I was for you in the very beginning, I 100% get if in your mind you're like, maybe this isn't it. Like, the cards were stacked against me in terms of like everything you just said. So maybe when you initially pursued me and pursued our relationship, you didn't think it would turn out to be what it was, that our connection would be so intense. And at that point, you were already in a predicament. It was like, oh shit, now what?
Yeah.
So everything happens for a reason.
What about you?
So what this made me think of is like, we got married really fast, right? So a lot of our setbacks or moments, we're married, and I know that I can't just run away. I can't just quit, you know? And none of our problems are make or break problems so far. You know, we've had a couple. But, you know, there are always things that we could work through. And in knowing that we're married and like, this is forever, this is what we got to do, we have that. It gives me the ability to like, don't get so angry and upset and crazy, because what's the point? You want to make it work with this person. So don't, what did you call it? Don't jump out the window. So when we talk about setbacks, is I've had my moments where I'm jumping out the window, where I'm saying things I regret, where I'm like low blows or just being fucking extra with my language and my attitude towards you. And those are moments when I felt like I let you down, like I've disappointed you. And I know that I have repairing to do.
Do you feel like marriage saved us?
I feel like not marriage saved us, because I feel like no matter what, we might have found our way back to each other. But marriage has helped us see things a little clearer, quicker. Like, we don't let it get too out of hand, because we're like, this is it. So in knowing that, we're easier to forgive one another. We're easier to be open to the other person's perspective, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
How do you feel you've let me down? Because a big misconception is that there's been a letdown and everything's been pure bliss, or y'all had the letdowns before the marriage or in the first year or the first 5 years. And I feel like disappointments are going to be happening throughout the duration of our marriage. So in what ways do you feel like you've disappointed me?
That's heavy. This is what's coming to mind, so I'm just going to go with it. There was a situation where me and you got into I'll say it's one-sided. I got really upset with you.
Okay.
And I remember I burst through the door and I got in your face and was yelling at you like on some...
I can't believe you told this story.
Yeah. I'll whatever.
It was early on. We were married though.
We were married.
It was our first year of marriage. Like, we were like, maybe, let me see. I don't think we had a year married yet.
I'm trying to catch my words here. I saw something. That's what you shouldn't look through people's phones, but I saw something in your phone, and later on, after we've talked about it, it really wasn't that serious. But I saw something in your phone, and it triggered me, and I burst through the door and got up in your face,
and I was in the shower. It scared the shit out of me.
And it was like on some I'm gonna fuck you up type things, and obviously I didn't do it. But I remember in the middle of yelling at you, your face went like
a ghost, like blank.
And I backed off and I'm trying to argue, but I can already see like you were already disconnected from the situation. And you were like, get out.
Yep. I didn't engage. I didn't argue. I didn't try to explain.
But I'm like, no, but you're like, get out. Get out, or I'm calling the cops. I'm like, and then in my head, I'm like, wait a minute, no, I'm
married. This is my
home. No, not even. I'm like, I'm the right one. What's happening right now? Like, how's this Uno reverse card? And I saw the seriousness in her face, and I was like, oh shit,
I gotta go.
I immediately knew I fucked up. It was immediate regret, and I was like, can you just get out?
Yep.
No matter what I said, it was just get out.
And if y'all listeners of this podcast, y'all know I don't play that intimidation shit, that yelling shit.
I got out.
I thought that was it for us for a little bit.
I remember I sat in the car, and then I was just like in a daze. Like I was just replaying everything. Like, why the fuck did you do that? Like, why did you do that? And I drove to work. And I had a little locker in my work, and I remember I just pulled up a seat. It was mad cold in there, and I fell asleep, and I didn't have work until that evening. So it was like I'm still there in the morning, just cold in the locker room, and then you called me and asked me where I was. And mind you, this had been hours, and you told me to come back. I came back, and we talked, and literally the thing that I saw that triggered me was like so dumb. So that was a big moment where I let you down. But for me, it was, you know how sometimes you need to touch the stove to see that it's hot? I knew from that moment on, like this was what, 2017, 2016? I knew from that moment on, I could never. There's no bucking up. There's no yelling. There's no getting in the face. And it's been like 6 years since that's happened. And you could speak to it. I've never even come close.
No.
Because one, that's not my personality. I don't, there's no woman that could write up here and say, Travis used to yell at me and beat me, because that's not me. So one, it was super out of character. And then two, I saw that was a potential
deal breaker.
Like this could end my marriage if I ever do this again. And I don't even I have a deep voice and I'll be mindful. Are you yelling? Nope, no, baby, I am not. So now that I've told that embarrassing story, please.
Yeah. Not that it's embarrassing. It was a learning moment. For me, it's just that was a really big red flag, you know? And I was just hoping that it wasn't the first sign. Like you said, it's been 6 years and it's never happened again, not even remotely close because of that. Again, it's one of those things like you should just know that. Why did you have to experience it to realize? But
I'm happy
we're human.
I'm happy I experienced it.
Yeah.
Because even if that was the deal breaker for you, that would have carried over into my next relationship. So I'm grateful that it was a learning experience and we're still together.
That's like when women be like, oh, everything he do for his new girl, he learned with me.
But what's the best teacher? Life. Experience,
yeah.
There's a lot of things that I've been through that like I know I never want to go to jail. Like, even when I spent that 12 hours for having a revoked license, I live my life on the straight and narrow because I don't even want a taste of jail.
Yeah.
So yeah, life is the best teacher, and that was a teachable fucking moment. Scary as fuck.
I have a easier, more lighthearted way you disappoint me.
By not using the WD-40 that you bought?
Yeah, so.
Oh, shit, really?
Yep, that's the story I'm going to tell.
Look at we in sync.
Because it's so recent.
Yeah.
So he gets up really early in the morning and, you know, he has to get ready for work. I'm not expecting him to be quiet like a mouse or anything. But our bedroom door, the door to our bathroom in our bedroom, creaks, like squeaks so much. I had mentioned you should put WD-40 on that. But I just mentioned it. He didn't do anything about it. Weeks go by. I mention it again, whatever. I go somewhere and I see they sell WD-40. No, I ordered from Instacart. And I was like, I wonder if they have WD-40 because it would wake me up in the morning. So I buy it and I put it on Travis' desk. I'm like, look what I got you. He goes, oh, yeah. Shit is on his desk for weeks. I literally tell him, babe, and this is me already getting tight, but, you know, I'm saved. So I'm like, babe, the WD-40 on your desk is not for decoration. You think he fixed it? He still didn't do shit for days and days.
I will say I did it before you spoke to me.
The day I was already internally fuming and ready to tell you something, though.
God was looking out for me.
But not so much, because then Travis thinks he's so clever and he wants to make a joke of it. And inside, I'm already pissed. Like, I'm already like, we're going to have a serious talk about this.
So wait, can I say what I did?
Yeah.
So I call her, I'm like, babe, can you come upstairs? Like, what? And she's like, oh, serious? I'm like, no, close the bedroom door. So in my mind, she's going to close the bedroom door and hear no squeaking, right?
But I can't even focus because
so
you're
then
making
I'm
me...
like, come to the bathroom, close that door. So she closes the door and she's like, what?
I'm thinking he has to tell me a secret, like Eli can't hear, something crazy happened.
So then I'm like, when you close both those doors, you didn't hear any.
Yeah, I was pissed. Because yes, I'm happy you did it, but it's like the way he presented it to me was like, he did me such a favor. Like, look what I did for you, babe. Even though I was asking.
That wasn't me saying like, I looked out for you. It was more so, I'm not a handy guy. I know technology. I'm great at following instructions, but I'm not a handy guy. I can't build you a house. So I was hyped that a little WD-40 fixed the squeaking problem because I've never even used WD-40 in my life.
But mention anything to him that interests him, he'll Google it and figure it out. But WD-40 on the fucking squeaking door, it took until I was about to lose my shit in here for you to do it.
And then she said, and then immediately she says, I was literally going to explode today. I was like, thank God I did it.
Then for like 3 days, he keeps making jokes about the door squeaking. And each time I didn't laugh. I was like, I
didn't mean to startle you. I don't think you heard the door open when I came in.
for days. And I'm like, can we stop with the jokes about the door?
Because it's like you think you're doing me a favor.
Mind you, I could have did it myself, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to deal with the greasiness. I do a million other things. Like, I wanted you to take that off of my to-do list.
So now I'm the WD-40 king. I've been walking around the whole house like.
So yeah, there's a little lighthearted.
Shit, I should have went lighthearted. Why the fuck did I?
Yeah, it was good. Balance. Why do we continue to choose each other?
Because it's ghetto out here.
So he only chooses me because there's nothing better out there.
No, seriously. You've become my best friend. Like a perfect day is any day where me and you are together. As corny as it sounds, it's true. Like I can do everything with you. Mm-hmm. And I don't think a lot of people can say that. Like there's always a separation. Like, oh no, I watch sports with my guys, or I go to the gym with my guys. It's like I could literally everything that I enjoy about life and doing life, I can involve you in some capacity, and it's not forced.
Yeah. I don't want to go to Comic-Con. I've said that before, but just reminding you.
But you did.
I did. Yeah, I did go.
And you tried it for me.
Yeah.
And now we know you don't like it.
Yeah.
It's like anal.
You gotta try it. Yeah, I don't like it. We're not doing that.
So now I know. I call Dexter if I want to go to Comic-Con, not Stephanie.
Yeah.
So I choose you because, you've shown me a side of this crazy thing called life that I never knew I could even have. Like these beautiful boys that we have, this beautiful relationship that we have. Like we are that annoying couple who just loves on each other every chance we get.
Yeah.
And it's not for the camera. It's literally, that's us. Like there's times I'll just pull her to the side, just we could hug it out for like 30 seconds, just so like, like I fuck with you heavy.
Yeah, you were standing on the stairs, like kind of looking at the TV, halfway going up the stairs. And I went past you, but like I didn't really touch you. And you were like, you okay? What's wrong? Come here.
So yeah, it's something I've never experienced in my life. It's something I never want to experience, or I don't even think I could experience again. Yeah.
For me, definitely, like, of course, we love spending time together. But another thing for me, like a big thing for me, is that you make me want to be a better person, right? So like when I talked about the ways I've disappointed you is when I've, jumped out the window with my words. But I could say that isn't something that happens often. It's very few and far between. And it hurts me. It makes me reflect, and I make sure that I apologize to you. And whereas before in my relationships, my mouth was deadly. Like my mouth was like my weapon, and I would talk crazy, and then I was wrong and strong. Like even if I felt a little guilty, I wouldn't let my partner know that. I had to be like, well, you deserved it. Because you did this, I had to do this, right? I didn't take any accountability. Because, two things could be true. You had me tight. You wasn't doing the WD-40, but there was a way that I was going to communicate that with you that wasn't going to be disrespectful.
Yeah, that's a lot of growth.
You know what I'm saying? Like I was going to be like, how many times have I not mentioned the WD-40? You are disappointing me. I would communicate it in that way. Whereas I'll be like, I would have freaking threw the WD-40 at your computer or some shit like years ago. You get what I'm saying? And that's because of that fear of losing you and wanting to be better for you and respecting you. And I'm like, wow, you've pushed me to want to be a better version of myself. So of course I want to be with you forever, and I'm going to choose you forever.
I think that's the most important thing, is that we choose one another. Neither of us are like forced into this. We're not, at least I'm not, like, I don't have like a secret fund where I'm like, as soon as I hit this mark, I'm out.
Yeah. Mm-mm. I will say, thinking about our next topic, sometimes I think like when you're like 50, 60, you could get like a young girl and have more kids.
You've been saying that since the day we met.
I know. It's an irrational fear that I have.
And yeah, it's not going to happen.
And now I'm getting like older. Like I took a picture with River and I had oldie crow's feet on my eyes.
You jokingly say that, what is it? I post the worst pictures of you because so no one else wants you, or no, that's how you know it's real. And I it's so annoying, especially, you know, y'all can speak to this. Like you look at a picture of your partner and you're like, damn, they look good. Or whether it's a man or woman and you're just like so in love with this person. They do it for you. They get the fluids running. Mm-hmm. If you're a man, you're erect. If you're a woman, you're dripping, right? And then, like, let's say you post a picture, and then immediately they're like, "Why would you post that picture of me? I look this or that." And it's like, what the fuck does that say about me? If you have a problem with the way you look in this photo, and all I'm looking at is like, "Damn, look how lucky am I?" Stephanie does this to me all the time. Yeah. I posted a beautiful little picture with her and Eli when we went to the beach, and I'm looking like, look at my handsome son, my gorgeous wife, and immediately she's like, this fucker, like.
You post the worst pictures of me. No, you're right. It's just social media culture. Like every picture we're like brainwashed to think has to be like picture perfect, you know?
We joke about those people, baby.
I know, but I'm not perfect. I have those insecurities.
Really quick, I know we could do a whole episode on this.
Uh-huh.
How do we help those people?
I don't know. I'm struggling with it myself. I guess because even me, like I post pictures with no filter, or like if I use a filter, the next picture will be without one.
Just so you're like, listen, I know I don't look like that.
Yeah. But I feel like I'm purposely doing that to actively fight that like urge to always post a filter. You know, so I'm not doing it because I'm so confident. I'm doing it because I'm like, I know I can easily start to become insecure if I don't post my real face. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like it's not an individual problem. It's a social media problem, society problem. It's scary, especially like you talk about these first dates, you being catfished. Like, if you're posting every single picture with and I'm not talking about it looks like a vintage photo. I'm talking about the ones that reshape the structure of your face.
Looks like your face is beat.
Yeah. And not even beat. It looks like you got lip injections, Botox in your cheeks. Like, it changes your face completely. And then you're going to go on a first date. That could be an awkward moment, you know, and it could be uncomfortable. And some people are fetishizing this Instagram model look. And what I mean is there are people who actually get surgery to look like a filter. So if they see you in person and you don't have the lip fillers and the cheeks, and, you know, it could be an issue.
Yeah, I think it's scary to date in 2022 because you never know what you're going to get. I will say, at least for us, the trained eye, we can spot that shit pretty easy.
Yeah.
And yeah, love yourself. Like, jokes aside, I don't want, because I know there's something like psychological to it.
Yeah.
So.
And sometimes it's like, some people probably do love themselves, but they're like, it's just an app. I'm going to post what I want on this app. Like, for example, Travis always tells me when he's taking pictures of me, he'll be like, show teeth, show teeth. But I'm a little insecure about my teeth. So it's like, in person, I'm going to laugh and smile with people, but I probably avoid posting pictures when my teeth are showing.
None of us are perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm far from perfect. You heard Steph talk about my big head last episode. But I've grown to love myself, and even the things that I'm not 100% happy with, it's just like, what am I going to do? These are the cards I was dealt. And what am I going to do? There's a lot of... what are you going to say?
No, I found it funny because, like, these are the cards I was dealt. Like, you like are horrible looking.
No, but I'm saying, like, everyone has their thing. The person you find the most beautiful could look in the mirror and be like, well, my nose is a little off to the left.
Yeah.
So Yeah, I don't know. I don't have the answer. I just want better for everyone, and stop with the filters because we see right through it.
Yeah. But yeah, you ready to move on?
Yes. Shout out to
Pink Hair Danny.
Pink Hair Danny. Thank you.
All right. The next topic is a really juicy topic.
Okay.
But it is an anonymous submission from Patreon.
Okay.
All right. So the topic is age gaps in relationships. What is culturally acceptable as a maximum age gap? And why is it more culturally acceptable for the men to be older in heteronormative relationships?
So I think in a lot of cases, the men are the provider, right? So you can look a certain way as far as age. Like you get older, obviously you start to look older. But if you got money and you're able to take care of someone, they don't really see those crow feet in your eye.
I was talking about the crow's feet. So you're not 100% wrong, right? So, I looked this up, and of course, I found an evolutionary psychology perspective. So if you've been listening, I kind of reference evolutionary psychology a lot because I find it very interesting. And the gist of evolutionary psychology is like, we can accredit every behavior that we do as humans to our need to reproduce, right? That's the ultimate goal of any living thing, is to reproduce, make copies of yourself. So we talk about before modern society, women who bear children wanted men who were able to provide, right? So more than likely that will be men who were older. And on the flip side, men who wanted to reproduce will want younger women because women can't, after 35, it becomes dangerous, less likely to even have children, which makes sense for my irrational fear that you're going to leave me for a young woman to have more children when you're 60.
Gotcha.
See why I brought this back? So you're not wrong. It does stem from that need to have a man that can provide and take care of your offspring. But yeah. It must be the cash because it ain't your face. Beyonce reference fit perfectly in there.
Have you ever dated an older man or older person?
No. I always, for some reason, I was attracted to people in my age group. Like the oldest person I ever dated was always just maybe 2-3 years older than me, max. It's never been like my thing. And I always joke and say, even though I have the irrational fear that you'll do it, that like if we ever divorce when we're old, I'm going to date younger guys. Like that's in my head. I think that. But now as I'm getting older, I'm like, nah, my perspective on that is changing.
So I think, for me, I have dated older, 6 years older to be exact. And I was 20.
Okay. And
although you're like, oh, but this person is 26 and you're 20, but there's like a completely different life happening at that point.
You know what? I did in my research find that in that younger group, so like early 20s, that tends to happen more often, that the woman is older. But it changes when the men get older and the women are like bearing children age. So like a 25-year-old woman is more likely to date like a 20-year-old guy versus like when they get older, a 50-year-old is more likely to date someone in their mid-30s.
So this woman, she had a child who was like maybe like 6. So I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. It was just like, this is a older, beautiful woman. This is awesome. She got money, she got her own place. Yeah. And she wants me. Check, check, check.
But she wanted you for fun or she wanted to date you?
I think, you have to, let me call her. No. I think she wanted to date me. Okay. I think she wanted to date me. I remember this is like one of the most embarrassing things that's ever happened to me. But she invited me over to her daughter's birthday party.
Oh shit! So it was serious.
It was serious. The dad was there. I don't think people really knew who I was.
Oh my
God!
like
I looked 20.
Yeah,
I looked 20.
I can't even like you and your personality. Like I can't even envision how you would handle yourself in that room.
I was just there. I remember dressing young. Like I mean, I feel like I dressed pretty similar. Like I think I had like a Kid Robot tee, whatever. And she goes, "Babe, do you want a drink?" And then I overhear her friends to the right of me go, "Is he even old enough to drink?"
Yes, her friends are funny.
I kept it like, "Yeah, I'll take the drink." And I didn't even make eye contact with her.
And you're not even a big drinker either, so you probably felt pressure. Like,
yeah. And they were right. I was not old enough to drink. But she didn't make me feel 20. She made me feel like a man. And so, I think in a sense that her age was attractive because there's something about an older woman wanting you at that age, which is like a turn on. It's always like the double standard where like if a female teacher was like hooking up with like a high school boy.
But that's different. That's like underage. We're getting in a different
I know
realm
we're getting in a
here.
different realm, but there's like a double standard where it's like pat on the back for the boy. If it was a girl, we'd be like, whoa, call the cops.
Yeah.
And same thing goes, even though it was legal.
Yeah.
It was, like a badge of honor for me.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, she's 26. I'm doing my thing.
Yeah.
And she had a baby, so I'm really like
that mom pussy.
And then I was like, I gotta find Stephanie. Where is she? That I think that relationship eventually ended because of that age difference. Like, there's just at a certain point, the kiddie stuff is time to go away, and it's like time for like real adult shit. And if I'm still in kid mode,
yeah,
and you're not, then I'm useless.
Definitely. So in the research, it's seen that usually the age gap is about 3 years, and it's usually the guy who's older. So for us, we have a 2 years?
2 years.
2 year difference. And how in relationships, how they can impact. It says age gaps between partners can generate self-consciousness about one's relationship, concerns that the relationship won't work, hypersensitivity towards others' ideas about the appropriateness of a relationship. So why is it that other people have such big opinions about big age gaps? Like if, let's say, a 15-year difference, a 20-year difference, why is that so shocking? Why are people so concerned when that happens?
So we've discussed this plenty of times, but there's something creepy about, like, let's say we have like a 20-year-old girl dating a 35 to 40-year-old man. What the fuck do you have in common at that point, other than you're finding their age and attractive?
Like you'd think like, well, this older guy probably would like a 16-year-old, but he's settling for 18 because
like,
it's legal.
What's the legal age in America?
Yeah.
And that's my concern, because like we have a friend, we talked about her coming over earlier in the episode, Ariana. Ariana is 22.
22.
I love Ariana, beautiful girl. But I talked to her and it's like, you're 22. Right?
Yeah.
There's no knock against her, but she's 22.
Yeah.
The other day, we took the bus back here, and I fell asleep while she was talking to me.
So you're like, I couldn't date a 22-year-old.
What would I do with a 22-year-old?
Yeah.
She said, "Did you close your eyes?" And I had to apologize because she was literally like telling me some interesting story to her, and I just closed my eyes. But so what would I do? Like, even now, I'm gonna be 34 next week. If I was talking to a 20-year-old, she would have to be like the most mature 20-year-old in this world for me to be like, this is my girlfriend.
Yeah.
I don't see it.
So speaking of like maturity, right? I feel like it works when there is one person that's super mature. What makes someone really mature? Life experiences, right? So you don't know if what happened in their life that pushed them to mature earlier, right? Wanting children. There's some young 20-something-year-old women that are ready. They want to be moms. They want to have that life. They don't want to be on Tinder and dating and doing the casual sex thing. Like, they want to find someone that they love, they want to be with. And more often than not, you find that in men who are older and significantly older. And I feel like it works. If you're of legal age, my other thing that I kind of added in my just a tip is to think about, is this a recurring pattern, right? So let's say I'm interested in a guy who's older. Does he typically date girls my age and then after a couple of years finds a young girl again?
You aged out.
You know? Like, is it a you thing because you're mature, or is it he fetishizes young women?
You know? Sometimes that could be game. Oh, you're just so mature.
Yes, that's another thing. That could be manipulation, right? So we got to be careful. But do I think it's all creepy and it could never work? Absolutely not.
I will say personally, like I'm still a little judgy, and that's me getting over my own shit. I realize that there are plenty of relationships that are healthy and there's a huge age gap. I have friends or people I know, I won't say friends, but they'll just pop up on social media and like their man is like obviously older, but then he's also really successful.
But it also depends on where the age is, right? Because if it's 20 and 40, it might be a little different than if it was 30 and 50. Even though it's 20 years apart, a 20-year-old, you're like, you were just a teenager. Versus a 30-year-old, you're like,
had some life experience.
You have some life experiences, and, you know, and even us, we're getting older in age chronologically, but we have like a young spirit, you know. So like Ariana's 22 years old and she's one of my good friends. We're 10 years apart and we can bond, we can get along. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So as you get older, the age gap, I feel like, is less of a raise eyebrow situation.
But we should continue to raise eyebrows.
It depends. It's situational.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, it shouldn't just be like, it's not a blanket thing where if it's legal, it's okay.
Yeah.
I think a little investigation needs to happen as far as like, all right, who is this 20-year-old? Like, what about them says, or what about them or their personality makes this okay?
Yeah. And I also think we have to ask certain questions, right? Just a tip. Why are you in this relationship? Is it for fun or you want a relationship, right? Because I would never knock a 20-something-year-old girl who like finds a salt and pepper, dad vibe sexy, and she's just trying to have some fun. You get what I'm saying? Like, whatever. But I would warn her about being with creepy older guys who are like fetishizing underage girls. Like, you know, so you got to draw the line somewhere. But then the other question is, do y'all have similar expectations from this, right? Because you could be 25 and you want to settle down, so you want an older partner. But what if this older partner already had a family, already divorced? Now they're at the point in their life where they don't want to start a family. They've been there, done that. They trying to just have fun and, you know.
So there's someone I'm thinking of. I know. And I believe she's maybe 2 years younger than me, maybe 3, whatever. She's dating an older guy. I think she might engage or whatever. But he has kids who are like grown and close to her age. And it's like, that's weird.
Why?
Because it's like...
She's in her 30s.
I just like, what can you? For me, it's like the commonality. Like, what are you both? What are both your interests that you're just like, oh yeah, this is my person.
So I feel like in that specific relationship, there's a disconnect. They have different life goals, and I get that's the issue. But I don't think the issue for me isn't just the age, because if it was the same age gap, but they had similar goals, like they wanted to start a family, they both wanted to start a family, that's okay. Or if they had the same age gap, but they both were like, she was like, I don't want any kids. He's like, yeah, I'm done. My kids are grown. Fine.
No.
And then I also think about people who have kids really, really young. You know, like you're a teen mom, 19, 20. When you're 40, your kids are in their 20s. And if you find a partner in their 20s, it's like, it might happen.
Yeah.
You never know.
I think this is also more of an American thing too. I feel like it's more common that in other countries, it's like older man, younger woman.
But sometimes to an extreme.
Yeah.
Like I remember being in DR and there was much older guys with like really, really young girls in a way that was like creepy.
Yeah.
And it also comes down to socioeconomic status because sometimes these young women have no other choice to come out of poverty. Yeah, they got to go find a man ASAP to even help feed their families, you know? But that's a whole nother topic. Well, do I have another question? Oh, I kind of brought them up throughout the conversation, but I'll repeat them. So just a tip, if you're considering dating someone with a significant age gap, is this long term or is it for fun, right? Because we could be like, whatever.
Stella got her groove back.
Exactly. If it's long term, do you have the same long term goals? Because that could be a problem. Then I also brought up, does this person have a pattern of dating people who are significantly younger than them? Like, is it a weird fetish thing or is it a genuine connection with you? Those are, I feel like, top importance. One thing that I did want to bring up that we didn't bring up, I feel like when women date younger guys is more frowned upon. Like, it's like, oh my gosh, she's a cougar, or like, ew, what can she offer him? Like, people couldn't believe that a young guy finds an older woman attractive still. Why do you think that is?
I guess because I don't look at an older woman and say like, ooh, that's for me. So, and I feel like most men or people in general feel that way. And I think there's something to it because when I was 20 and a 20-year-old was attracted to me, at 30, almost 34, if I look at a 20-year-old, I'm like, that's a baby. Keep her away from me. So as I get older, my taste is going to change.
Yeah, yeah. There's no older women like celebrities that you're like, oh, I'd hit it if they gave me a chance.
Older celebrities. I don't know. Everyone's so done up. Like I have to see the real you. Like
Nick Jonas, his wife. I forget how to pronounce her name.
That one to me, I raised an eyebrow at that one.
They're only 10 years apart.
But she's like, it's like noticeable.
Is it?
To me, he looks really young.
He looks really young. He does. He has like a baby face.
Yeah.
And it's only 10 years.
10 years is a big gap.
But again, the 10 years, it depends where. Like 30 and 40, but it was like 20s, right?
Yeah.
They had a baby recently.
To each his own.
Yeah.
As long as it's...
Would you have also raised your eyebrow if it was vice versa? Like a 10-year age gap between a man and a woman?
No. But that's just like a societal norm.
And again, you're not a complete dick for it because if we think about evolutionary psychology, it makes sense that we're conditioned to accept older guy with younger woman because the younger woman can bear children, and that's the goal of humanity, of all living things, to reproduce. And when you're reproducing, you're needing someone who can provide to help these kids live, right? The success of your offspring.
Yeah, it's just obviously it's changed with time. Well, it's not like we're hunter gatherers.
Exactly.
It's just morphed into, I don't know, construction workers.
Yeah. And it's weird that as a society, we pick and choose what evolutionary things can stay or not, because we judge women who want men that can provide. Like, oh my God, you fucking gold digger. But then it's like, if a guy wants a younger woman to have kids with, it's like, oh, that's normal. Yeah, that makes sense.
We're a bunch of hypocrites.
It's so bad.
My love.
Daddy.
Do you still like me?
I still like you.
Even after I embarrassed myself?
Yep. And after you didn't put the WD-40 on the door for 3.5 months that we lived here.
I love you.
I love you more.
You.
Peace.